one. Yeah, first of all, thank you for showing up. It's like the first meetup here in Zurich, so I'm pretty proud of doing it here. Yeah, and thanks to you that even someone showed up. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm organizing the Laravel meetup. It's actually in Bern. Well, we started in Bern, and now we're gonna switch the location. We're gonna be in Bern 1 month, then we're gonna be in Zurich, and next month again in Bern, so that we reach more people. And yeah, and I love talking about Laravel. I love using Laravel. That's the reason why I started this meetup, because I want to share my passion with you. And it's awesome to see so many new faces that also share passionate developer, want to learn something on their free time. And it's cool to meet people like you, because we are, I think, all like-minded. We want to improve, we want to get better, we want to, yeah, have a good life. Let's say it like that. As you know, the toilets are, you just have to go there. Drinks are in the bathtub.
College style.
Yeah, college style. And yeah, one more. If you got something interesting, I'm always looking for a speaker. So it must not be Laravel related. It can be if you're good with Git or something, or with the terminal and want to share something with us. It would be awesome. Just hit me up. I'm always looking for new speakers. It would be nice. Okay. So before we start, I have some questions. And let's just raise your hand. Who of you is here on his free will? Okay, it looks like no. Okay, look, one person is forced to come here, yeah? Yeah, that's good. And the next one, who identifies as a developer, who's coding regularly? Okay, like everyone, that's good. And who's doing automated testing? Okay, yeah, that's good. And who thinks that Zurich is a nice town? Okay, that's people are here. And the most interesting question is, who wants to get started with testing and write more tests? Okay, that's perfect, because you are here in the perfect talk. Today I'm going to present you everything about testing. I want to share my passion, test, and why I love using it. And yeah, I use it like the first alpha version, like 0.1 or whatever. And I'm still using it, and I like it.
The same version?
No, it improved actually. So that's the red homepage. As you can already see here, with 3 lines of code, you can already write a really nice test. But let's just jump into my editor, because I did not prepare any slides for you. I hope you're not sad. We're gonna do some live coding, so bear with me. And I think the first one, we're gonna just write an example test. So let's go for it, and that you can see how actually test looks like. So we can say, the nice part is test, you can write just with a function. It's called it. It starts with it. Okay. And you can write something like, it can bring joy to your testing. And the nice part is, this already works and does not bring any errors for you. Why do I tell you that? Because the nice part is, you can do like, it does something else. And the cool part is, it's like, when you're doing a new feature, you can just write all your test cases. What should it do? It should do something like A, B, C, and you just write everything you got in your head, and you're not doing any comments, but that's actually your function, your code. And that's cool. But let's go for something that's actually working and that we can test. The nice part about test is that we have the expectation API. So we expect the true must be true. So let's check it if it works. Okay, we open here, we have our vendor directory, and then you can just filter down to our example test. It's like all the attributes for PHP unit work as well for this one. As you can see, it works fine. Let's break it. Yeah, let's try something else. I have like a shortcut. I can write just PF, and then it's going as well. And as you can see, we are doing now expect false to be true, and that's actually not working. So That's like the first test we have. Okay, let's make it work again. The nice part is it even works with strings as well. So if you go Laravel plus pest equals love, you can say expect that the string should be a string. Yeah, that's nice. We can do something like, hey, expect the string to start with Laravel. And you can do even more stuff. You can do expect the string to end with, I don't know, love or something like that. And if you run it, now for the next time, I always gonna run just with the internal interpreter because it's faster for me. I just use it. I'm not gonna open the terminal. So yeah, and as you can see here, it says, hey, failed asserting that Laravel.pest does not end with love. Oh, I did a typo here. So as you can see, stuff like that is even working. And if I rerun it, as you can see, my test is now green, and when it's green, it says passes, no errors. And the nice part about pest is, as you can see, we have here our yellow squirrely, I don't know what's that called, the yellow lines. The nice part is we can just get rid of stuff like this here. Add an arrow here, maybe do this on the new line. And this test still works. So if you run this test, you can see it's still green. And the nice part is we can write it fluently. So it reads like a book. You expect that the string should be this. It should start with this. It should, and so we are doing not anything verbose, but it's pretty simple. And maybe if you're familiar with PHP, you see we don't even have a namespace on top. You can't currently see my line numbers because I deactivated it. But if I show line numbers, you see we are already just writing 11 lines of code and already have a test running. And we don't have to do anything, and that's pretty cool. That's why I love to work with Pest, because it's such minimalistic. You can just write what you need and don't need any boilerplate around it. But you say now, Ruslan, who the fuck is testing something like this? Yeah, you're right, nobody is testing something like this. So let's do some more real examples. So let's do, we have an app that's actually called Rocket. So let's go on Chrome and open our app. That's Rocket. That's like a basic installation of Laravel. And Rocket has some static marketing pages like our about page or our news page. And now the QA team is coming and says, hey, something is broken on the team page. I go to the team page, and it looks like, oh shit, I committed something on production that does actually not work. And I have here undefined variable rule. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty bad. But before we just go inside, fix it, and do a quick fix, let's write a test and make sure that this error is not happening again. So you can say it loads marketing page or something like that. And let's write the test to it. And the nice part is like, you can use now the get function to go to the team page and just do an assert OK. And this means that we, let's import the function first, because Pest is coming with some handy functions. So with the get one, we actually doing a HTTP request on the team page. And then we want to see with the assert OK that the 200 is reported back. So let's run this one. And as you can see, it does not pass because we are getting a 500 back. So we actually did reproduce the error, and we can see here undefined variable rule. So it's the same one that you get here on our page. Okay, let's see what actually happens here. We are here in the routes file where all our routes are defined, and you can see here on this line that the team page is using this team page controller. Here we have just an easy function that's returning a view with one variable that's called role. So let's go inside here in the team. And as you can see, that's a pretty basic view, but we made a typo here. It's not rule, it must be role. So let's fix it. The nice part is I can just rerun the test now. See, the test is passing. If I go to my page, open it, my page is also loading as expected. And the nice part is I have now a test that always confirms for me that the marketing page or like the team page is returning a 200 for me. And this gives me more confidence that my application actually is running as intended. So let's go back to the test. The nice part is I have a lot of different pages. I have like a news page, an about page, a marketing page, and so on. The cool part is I can do like data sets. So I can say, hey, load the home page. I can say, hey, load the news page. I can say, load the about page, the marketing page, the team page. Then I can do it here. That's the URL, and just change it. And let's do it. It loads marketing page. And when I run this test now again, you see that I already have written 5 different tests that are visiting 5 different pages on my application, and always has to return a 200 back. And as you can see, I only did write 3 lines of code. And I already tested a lot of stuff that I know that my application actually works. So that's like a pretty cool way to start to get with the test. Because most of the times it's pretty hard to get into testing because you need to mock stuff, do different stuff. But if you got something basic like this with only 3 lines of code, you already get into the habit testing your applications to stuff. And I love it. It's a big win for you. Okay, so far, any questions? Good. Then, let's go, because we have now, the QA team is coming to us, or someone, and they say, hey, when you log in, something is not working. Because some users are logging in and the page, the dashboard is no longer working. And in our Rocket system, we have like 3 roles. We have an administrator, a manager, and a normal user. So these 3 different roles that have like 3 different dashboards. So we are here for the administrator. Okay, it looks like the administrator is working fine. Then we go here to the manager. Looks like the manager role is fine as well. So let's go to the simple user. And it looks like something is broken for the role with the user. So let's see what's actually happening here. You have the dashboard controller, as you can see here on line 7. And oh, I can already see it. We have here 3 different cases. It's a pretty simple task now, but I forgot to use the user role. So we have the admin, the manager, but I need the user as well. So as you can see, that's the unhandled match case for the user. Okay, let's write the test for it, because yeah, we don't want that it breaks ever again. So let's go, test drive it. Let's say it loads the dashboard for every type of user. So let's do that. So we get, first we need to use the new function that's called acting as, because we want to be logged in as a user. So let's create a user with the factory, and he needs a role. Let's get the role here. And next we say, hey, go to the dashboard. And afterwards we will say, hey, everything is okay with it. Yeah, I need to pass a role here as well. And with the data sets that we did before, you can say, hey, I want to test it as an admin, I want to test it as a manager, and I want to test it as a user. So I have all the 3 different roles for my application. Let's scroll it down, let's run the test. And as you can see here, we did run now 3 tests, one for the admin, one for the manager, and then for the user. And as you can see, we did now reproduce our error from before, unhandled match case user. It's the same that we have here, unhandled match case user. And now we can start to fix our error. So let's see what happens. We go to our web page. We have here now our route for the dashboard. That's our dashboard controller. We go inside there. And we see, yeah, we already know we forgot one match case, so we're going to use it for the user, and just say user, something like that. We rerun the test, and we see all our tests are passing. And we are now confident that actually our application is working. We can go and check it in the browser, but actually we don't need to, because we know with the test, hey, it's working, it's fine. Okay, that's a cool part to do it. Because I have built 2 or 3 applications with different role systems. And I have to be honest, when I deployed, I never checked the system with every different role. I did not go in, log in as an admin, as a manager. I don't do that. Maybe in the start, if you think so, but later on the application, you don't ever do it like this. And then you have to wait, like someone's telling a ticket, it's broken. And with something like this, you have already the confidence it's working and it's good to go. Okay. Let's do something more security related, because the dashboard is like a place where only authenticated users should go in. And let's make sure that actually this feature is actually working, because if you are not an authenticated user, you should never go to the dashboard. So let's do it like, so it redirects. Okay, what's going on? Let's do it like that. Let's do it. It redirects authenticated user to the login page. So let's test drive this. And the nice way about testing is that you can use the AAA strategy. It's like you use the strategy to get other developers fast for your testing, because if other developers know what's actually going on, they can actually write more tests. So we have a range phase, that's like we are building the world, like we are creating all database records, all the files, all you need. Then we have the act phase, well, now we want to go to the dashboard page and see, can an unauthenticated user go to the dashboard page? And then we have the third phase, that everything is working as intended. Okay, that's currently bad. I wanted to tell you this for the next test. But, okay, let's go with it. Let's go with the flow. That's okay, that's okay. Because currently I don't need to arrange anything, because I only need to go to the dashboard, and then I want to have redirect to the login page. Yeah, that's currently a bad example, but yeah, it's good afterwards. And let's run this test. And as you can see, it's failing again. It says it's getting some weird responses. I get 500 back. So let's see what's actually happening. When we go to our routes file, we can see here now our dashboard controller. And if you're familiar with Laravel, you already see I don't have any authentication here in. Because I need to add a middleware that says, hey, actually only authenticated user can visit this route. So let's rerun the test again. And you see, now it's passive. Now we have solved like the security concern that we had in our application, and we have confidence that it won't happen again. And the nice part is, because we are using only like 2 functions here, we can even refactor it and make it even more slim. So let's do it like that. We can just fluently chain everything here, rerun the test, and you can see it still works, and we have a running test with just 3 lines of code. It says it redirects an authentic user to the login page, then we go to the dashboard and say, hey, it should be redirected to the login page. And that's it. And it's just so easy and expressive. It's like, you don't need to be a developer to understand what this test does. So. What?
What happens if your website is really, or the connection is really, really slow? You have to wait for this redirect to happen. Is it waiting? How much is waiting?
Yeah, currently everything is locally. It's tested. So locally, you don't have nice performance issues. Yeah, so it actually runs pretty fast locally. It depends on how many data you're testing with.
But if you're not testing locally,
yeah.
Yeah,
most times this test you don't use them on a production server. It's like these are for your local or for your CI environment. You're using them, and you use other tools that I would say if you want to test directly on a production server, because you need some more cleanup afterwards. Because if you're registering users and stuff like that, you need like special endpoints that are cleaning up and your new registered users, and it gets more complicated, let's say it like that.
Of course, it could be a staging environment that mimics the prod, but
Yeah.
uses a different data set.
Yeah, this will. Yeah.
Or it might be a connection from get the and with this one you're basically mostly trying to predict the logic of the website and that works and doing
Yeah.
balance
So it's
testing or something.
Kind of a unit test for servers, right?
Yeah. But if you actually need to test something, there are other, you can use Laravel does. Like you have then an end-to-end testing, like where you're clicking around and say, hey, I want to go there and do stuff like that. With Pest, it's more like for your local stuff, but you can use everything and do whatever you want. We are programmers, we can make it work. Okay, thank you for the question. Thank you, Bogdan. Much better, isn't it? Can you still read it? I hope. Okay, let's go to our last test for today. I prepared for you guys. And it's like, again, the QA team or whatever is coming to us. And imagine we have an e-commerce store and we have like a payment. And the payment did fail. And now the customer should get a payment failed mail or something like that. And now the QA team says, hey, in the mail, the name of the customer is not shown. Why? Why is it happening? Can you fix it? And we are like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do it. So let me show you. First, I'm gonna open Invoker, and you don't need to know anything about Invoker. It's just an admin tool for your Laravel application. That's all you need to know. And the nice part is that you can just watch the mailables inside it. So as you can see, you can even see all your tables. I just have one tag model, so with the users, with the three, or like what we are interested for, yeah, the application at one mail. Yeah. But in a bigger application, you have like hundreds of mails, and this is nice that you can just view them here. And then I'm picking a user, like me, and review it. And you can see the subject here, we were not able to collect your payment. And then we can already reproduce the error. Like, hey, blank. Okay, looks like something is missing, and the QA team did not lie to us. It's an error. So, what are you doing now? Yes, we're reproducing the error with a test. So let's do it. So, it builds the payment failed bill from. And it's correct. Yeah, everything fine. Okay, now we can actually use the arrange, act, and assert phase. Before it was pretty, with three lines of code, it's pretty hard to do that. Okay. I did a typo here, you all saw it. I did. Okay, so let's create a user. Easy way, we are just doing a factory, create it, use a common name, like star, everyone knows that. Then the next part, we're gonna act, so we're gonna build the mailable. So let's build the mailable. New payment, failed mail, it requires a user, and we're gonna build it. Okay, cool. Perfect. And the last one is that we want to render the mail and see is hey Ruslan showing up. Okay, let's do that. Expect mailable, then we're gonna render it. I think it's render. To contain a Ruslan. Let's run the test and see what's going on. Okay, now this is pretty hard. We only need the first part, failed, asserting that, and if you have a keen high, you will see that's a markdown from a mail and everyone lost it. But don't worry, we have a button here, scroll to end. You can just scroll down. And this says contains a Ruslan. Well, it's not finding a Ruslan. So we actually did reproduce the error because, yeah, could not find my name. So let's dive into the available. Let's go here inside. We see the constructor. It's taking the user. Let's be new. We have here sending to the email address, the subject. We are not able. Okay, this looks fine. And then, okay, let's dive into the markdown. And right on the bed, I can see, hey, username. It looks like, the attribute username does not exist. So it's getting something because we get no type hints here currently. So I know the error. We just have to change it to name, and everything works. Because when we look here inside our factory, it's using the name attribute. And if you rerun the test, we see, it works now. We can just ship on production, and everything is good. But let me show you in the Invoker app. If you just preview it again, you see, it's working now. It's correct. And that's like a nice way how you can get confidence that the bug you fixed actually is working. And you can just deploy it on production. You don't fear anything. You don't fear deploying on Friday evening because you want to go to your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or kids, or whatever you're doing, and you want to have a nice evening. And this will give you confidence. And that's why I love using Pest. And maybe you go every test again and just look into it, and then we can talk a bit about it. So like the first test, you can see it's like 3 lines of code. And this already gives me the confidence that these pages just returning a 200 status code back to me. It's like, you can imagine if you have a big page, you have a lot of static pages. And you don't want to deploy and click on every page every time. No. You want to do something like this. That's a smart way. Think about it the next time. If you are clicking around. And the next part is, it's like if you got different roles or stuff like that, the changing depends on which user is logged in, what status does the user have. That's a nice way to test, is everything still working, is it nice? That's a nice way to do it. The next one is like a pretty basic test. I would say it's not that recommended to do something like that, but it's only 3 lines of code, it does not bother you. And if you got, maybe if you're refactoring your routes file and something is missing, or you just had a bad day, this will cover your ass, so you don't have any security breaches. And the last one is like, here I wanted to show you like how a more complex test, that's not actually complex, my tests are like hundreds of lines long, but here for the presentation it's cool. It's like, I want to show you here the 3 phases, like how you can actually structure your code with the AAA system. And that's always good because on the first phase, you're gonna arrange everything, you're gonna set up the world, like do all your database records, move your files where they belong, download files, get your everything right. Then you can just act on it. Like here, we are building only the mailable. And on the last part is, I'm checking, hey, does it render the correct stuff? Because it's like, one way is like, that's pretty important is like if you got coupons or stuff like that, and you want to make sure that always the coupon code is shown on the mail. That's something like I would always test. This is like an example now. I'm not sure that I would test something like this just that the name is rendered correctly, but you can imagine you can do much bigger stuff. It's something that you have always to have in your mind. What you are testing, does it actually bring value to you? Do you feel better afterwards? Or do you feel bad if you have no test? If you feel bad, just write the test. And then you can sleep well. Okay. Yeah, that's everything I got for you. That's the introduction to Pest PHP. I hope you could learn 1 or 2 things. And also hyped about Pest PHP. I'm gonna use it.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you for your time. And do you have some questions?
Maybe you could show us like some real tests.
Yeah. Sure, why not?